What usually you do when you feel bored? Smoking, gaming, videos, movies, cooking, reading, making love? Wow, do you know how luxury you are living in modern life? Well, boredom is not only a medical issue, but a philosophy one. Watch up this video, you will find the bright side of boredom. Hi, Miss Y. You may heard thousands of ways to death, but how about being bored to death? According to the researchers from University College London, people who complain of a high level of boredom in their lives are at double at risk of dying from heart diseases or a stroke than those who find life entertaining. Of more than 7,000 civil servants who are monitored over 25 years, those who said they were bored were nearly 40% more likely to have died than those who didn't. The original survey found that 1 in 10 civil servants were bored in last month, with women more than twice as likely to suffer than men. Younger employees and those who with the menial jobs were more likely to feel bored. People who are bored are more likely to turn to unhealthy habits, like smoking and drinking, which can cut their life expectancy. Also, the Scientific American reports more dark sides in boredom. Easily bored people are at a higher risk for depression, anxiety, drug addiction, alcoholism, compulsive gambling, eating disorder, hostility, anger. So, why people can be bored? In fact, boredom is a modern luxury. Boredom was literally non-existent until the late 18th century. It came into being as Enlightenment was giving way to the Industrial Revolution. Early in human history, when our ancestors had to spend most of the days securing their food and shelter, boredom wasn't an option. In etymology, people found the term for the boredom originally came from the French, ennui, in about 1778. Psychologists have already wrapped up 7 reasons for your boredom. Let's see which one is yours. 1. Monotony in the mind. Boredom is similar to the mental fatigue, and is caused by repetition and a lack of interest in the details of our tasks. Any experience that is predictable and repetitive becomes boring. In general, too much the same thing and too little stimulation can cause in its victim an absence of desire and a feeling of entrapment. 2. Lack of flow. Flow is a statement of total immersion in a task that is challenging, yet closely matched to one's abilities, akin to being in the zone. Flow occurs when a person's skills match the level of challenge represented by the environment, and the tasks include clear goals and immediate feedback. Tasks are too easy or boring. Tasks that people perceive to be too difficult lead to anxiety. 3. Need novelty. Some individuals are more likely to be bored than others. People with a strong need for novelty, excitement, and variety are at a high risk of boredom. These sensation seekers, such as high drivers, are likely to find the world moves too slowly. The need for external stimulation explains why extroverts tend to be particularly prone to boredom. Novelty seeking and risk-taking is the way that these people self-medicate to cure their boredom. 4. Paying attention. Boredom is linked to the problem with attention. What bores never fully engages our attention. After all, it's hard to be interested in something when you can't concentrate on it. People with chronic attention problems, such as attention defect hyperactivity disorder, have a high tendency for boredom. In a learning environment, a common cause of boredom is a lack of understanding. For instance, if one is not following or connecting with the materials in a class or lecture, it will usually seem boring. However, the opposite also can be true. Something that's too easily understood, simple, or transparent can be also boring. Boredom is often inversely related to learning. And in school, it may be a sign that a student is not challenging enough or too challenged. 5. Emotional awareness. People who lack of self-awareness are more prone to boredom. A bored individual is unable to articulate what it is that he or she desires or wants to do. They have trouble describing their feelings. An inability to know what will make one happy can lead to is more profound existential boredom. Not knowing what we are seeking for means that we lack the capacity to choose appropriate goals for engagement with the world. 6. Inner amusement skills. Individuals lacking the inner resources to deal with boredom constructively will rely on external stimulation. In the absence of inner amusement skills, the external world will always fail to provide enough excitement and novelty. 7. Lack of autonomy. People feel boredom a lot when they feel trapped, and feel trapped is a big part of boredom. That is, they are stuck or constrained so that they will not be executed. For example, adolescence is the peak period for boredom, largely because the children and teenagers are not given a lot of control over what they want to do. So let's combine all these 7 psychological reasons and to say why you are experiencing your boredom online. If you find yourself in gaming too much for endless rounds for hours, over time, the sense of autonomy will come into your mind naturally. Of course, it can be more entertaining than nothing to do in airport or in prison, but the principle behind is the same. Also, the addiction on gaming can lead you to feel lack of autonomy, which will definitely make you feel trapped once you are off gaming. 2. If you are addicted to watching videos and movies, the overstimulated emotional feelings in them will increase the standards of needs of novelty. In other words, the stimulation of emotional feelings. So one day when you go back to the plainer entertainment activities such as reading or fishing, you are more easily to feel bored. 3. High frequent jobs before different information online on multiple webs also can decrease your attention ability. This is how psychologists say direct manipulation of attention can lead to boredom. Last but not least, in the age of information explosion, the overload modern experience of scenery leads us to more self-confusion. As John Eastwood, a clinical psychologist at York University in Toronto, said, I think there is something about our modern experience of a scenery overload where there is not a chance and ability to figure out what your interests and what your passions are. Besides psychologists, in fact, some philosophers and thinkers actually have explored the boredom for centuries. Modern boredom is a serious topic about the meaning of our life. For instance, the famous philosopher Martin Heidegger includes 100 pages on boredom, probably the most extensive psychological treatment on this subject. Without stimulations or focus, the individual is confronted with nothingness, the meaninglessness of existence, and experience existential anxiety. Heidegger states this idea: profound boredom, drifting here and there in the abyss of our existence, like a fog, removes all things, and man and oneself alone with it into a remarkable indifference. This boredom reveals being as a whole. In existentialism, boredom sends up a background of a blank, triggering us to make efforts to fill our emptiness. In this way, some philosophers see the bright side on boredom. They even suggested that without boredom, we couldn't achieve our creative feats.